Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center Physical this fine, beautiful Mother's Day. I'm Val Cary. I'm one of your prayer chaplains, and I'm giving this Sunday talk this morning. So thank you all for being here, those who are here in person. And then for those of you on Facebook, hello, good morning. Wanted to start out by saying that today's talk is about the divine feminine in all of us. And the information I'm sharing today comes from multiple sources. Charles Fillmore's Revealing Word, Charles McCora's The 12 Towers, Charles Roth's A 12-Power Meditation Exercise, Paul Hasselbeck's Heart-Centered Metaphysics, and then Gary Simmons' Eye of the Storm. So a lot of information from a lot of different places, but it's amazing how it all comes together to speak to our hearts. So first off, I'd like to talk about something that's going to happen next Sunday. Those in the room are already aware of this, but wanted to let those of you on Facebook know that we have a minister candidate visiting us next week from Louisiana. Her name is Dr. Sharon Reverend Renee, and let me say that over. Reverend Sharon Renee. There we go. She's an ordained Unity minister and natural medium with over 30 years of professional experience and a lifelong connection to the unseen realms, having discovered her intuitive gifts at the age of 3. She leads Spiritually Centered, which is an online Unity worldwide ministry dedicated to teaching Unity principles, intuitive development, and metaphysical understanding. And so she's going to give our Sunday talk next week, and then Kathleen, our beloved chef, is going to provide us with a lunch, and so we'll have lunch, and then Reverend Sharon will be providing a workshop afterwards, and the workshop is Navigating Change, Growing Together. So we'll have an opportunity to see her speaking style plus her teaching style. So if you're on Facebook and you're able to come visit in person next week, we would love to have you. Okay, so now it's time for our talk. So in the Revealing Word, Charles Fillmore tells us that the metaphysical meaning of divine feminine is the mother phase of being. God, through his Holy Spirit, is the Father. We all have the essence and qualities of both of these attributes, mother and father. Not in us, but as us, at our core, in our DNA. Each one of us has a mother department and a father department. We can create health, happiness, and prosperity by proper use of these two faculties in the realm of ideas, in the realm of the spiritual. So in the first chapter of Genesis, the Bible explains our creation. In verse 7 it says, "So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him, male and female he created them." Balance. 2 becoming 1. And God blessed them. God gave us his good. It's intricate into who we are and what we have. Just as God has been from the beginning, the spirit substance has been from the beginning. Substance is the mother side of God, the feminine element in God's nature. It is a universal medium in which we plant all ideas of supply and support. And so when you think of your mother, you think of everything that she did for you, everything that she gave you, and all of the ways that she supported you. The mother side of God is said to create our good, nurturing it into manifestation and producing the influences that hover over and enrich our lives. So I can think about all the ways that my mom influenced me. Greg had the opportunity to know her in all of our years together. And he'd always tell me, "You're just like your mom." That was good. And sometimes I was like, okay, maybe rethink. So I'd like to discuss with you a few of the 12 powers that are identified in the spiritual realm as the feminine attributes. Love. 2 John 4:8. God is love. The power of love is to harmonize, to unify, to unconditionally attract, to feel affection. And love has three aspects. The first is the aspect of emotion, your feeling side, that deep, affectionate, fervent attraction for other people. The second aspect is attraction, the ability to attract ourselves towards something. This is the ability we use when we desire another person or a thing. This is the power behind the law of attraction. We attract ourselves to people, situation, and things. And hopefully, those things that we are attracting ourselves to are positive and support our spiritual well-being. This is also the power behind the law of mind action. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind, and we talk a lot about that, about what we're thinking influences our actions, it influences our emotion, and so we need to be careful in what we're thinking. The third aspect of love is harmony, the ability to harmonize or unify, to bring into accord or agreement. So we can be that harmonizing force. We have that within us, that center of harmony, that center of the love that wants the best for everyone, the love that wants situations to unfold in their highest potential. So this is interesting. So the power of love and the power of wisdom should be paired together. Love, feminine, universal idea. Wisdom, masculine, universal idea. They need to be together. They belong together. Wisdom alone is not creative, neither is love. But a combination of the two will produce the best results. Interestingly enough, the physical centers of love and wisdom are very near each other, as Charles Fillmore taught us about the physical location of the 12 powers, or the 12 attributes of the spiritual divine. Love is a network of nerves that's just behind your heart. Wisdom is a network of nerves located in the cavity behind the stomach, which is called the solar plexus. And so sometimes it's interesting how the two react. So if you're feeling the positive feeling of love, the euphoria, the good part of that, oftentimes your physical countenance, you feel good, right? You feel balanced, you feel energetic. But if you're not feeling love, if you're feeling an emotion other than love, sometimes you get an upset stomach. And so it's kind of interesting as you experience those emotions. If you're not feeling balanced, if you're not feeling good, if you're feeling a little bit yucky, hey, where is your mind? Are you having loving thoughts? Or maybe you're having not so loving thoughts, and you've got hormones and other things that are actually being released in your body. And so there's a physical reason to focus on being loving and to receiving love. Paul could have been speaking to our day when he said, don't let the world around you force you into its mold, but let God remold your mind from within. This is to awaken the divine feminine, the wisdom to believe what's in your heart. When God said it is not good that man should be alone, he means that it's not good for wisdom to act alone. We also need the wisdom to believe the heart and balance and say and do everything with love and intuition. More about love. So, a wonderful lesson of consistency, gratitude, love, faithful attachment, and service is set before us in the glimpses of Mary Magdalene that are given in the Gospels. Whenever she is mentioned, the power of love, devotion, and service are revealed. Her whole life and all that she had were apparently dedicated to the Christ.
And so if we think about that example, if we think about how we are in relationship with other people, are we in relationship using our power of love, using our power of devotion, using our power of service? When we sit with those, when we think about using those in relationship to others, we're awakening our Christ consciousness, and we are touching the Christ consciousness of others. So we are elevating our energy, and we are elevating their energy. And so she's a perfect example of how to do that. When one's love is established in truth, the soul stays closest to the divine. Is that not a beautiful thing? Paul Hasselbeck says that love is our power to comprehend oneness. Spiritual love is the total, unconditional acceptance of everyone and everything. Love is patient, kind, humble, courteous, unselfish, good-tempered, and sincere. How do we show love? We show love by being willing to look deeper. We show love by letting go of the need to be right. We show love by not becoming defensive. So it's qualities within us that we can choose how we appear to others when we're in relationship with others. In John 4:8, God is love. In the eye of the storm, and did I do that right? I didn't do that right. So that was from my notes that I didn't take out. So I'm going to go forward. In the eye of the storm, Reverend Gary Simmons teaches about king, the Chinese verb to listen. 3 characters that represent the principle of what it means to listen. Each character is made up of an image, and the images are heart and ear, paying attention, and 2 streams coming together. These images depict empathy, heart and ear, and becoming fully present to the other person, paying attention, for the purpose of creating something together, 2 streams coming together. What if listening was not about hearing the words of another person, or even understanding his or her position, but about creating something together? So this symbol, it's very special, has a lot of meaning. And so Gary shared 2 ideas about this in ways that you can approach listening to someone else. I give you my ears, my eyes, my undivided attention, my heart, and my respect. And that's the king symbol in the form of respect. Another way to look at this, listen with their ears, look with their eyes, treat them like a king, give them 100% of your heart, give them 100% of your attention. And that 100% is the completion, the oneness, the perfection. So our next topic is imagination, understanding, and will. In Ephesians 3:20, now to him who is able to do far more abundantly than all we ask or think, according to the power at work within us. In Psalm 19:130, the unfolding of your words gives light. It gives understanding to the simple. And so imagination and understanding are 2 feminine attributes, but most often they are paired with the masculine attribute, will. Again, balance. In imagination, every form and shape originates in your imagination. It is through imagination that the formless takes form. It is important that you recognize the importance of your mental faculty of imagination and that you know how to use it skillfully in molding the mental forms to the outer expression of your needs and desires. So I know sometimes my imagination can tell me things that are not true, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. You know, when I'm not aware of what I'm thinking, and I'm either going to the past, like reliving something, or, you know, maybe I'm even concerned about how something might turn out in the future, we know that those aren't based in any reality. That's not the present, that's not the here and the now. So in Charles Roth's book, A 12-Hour Meditation Exercise, he says that we all know that when you close your eyes to daydream or to mentally rerun an episode from the past, you watch the film that's supplied by your subconscious mind through your third eye, which is an area between and a little above the eyes. And under certain conditions, the influence of the imagination can overcome or cut out the visual image that's coming through your physical eyes. In other words, it is possible for you to see not what is actually there, but what you want to see. It is also possible to see things not as they are, but as someone or some circumstance strongly suggests that you see them. So the brain is a really wonderful thing. It is like a supercomputer that manages so much information from your past. And so if you have things that maybe you haven't worked through, or old hurts that you haven't let go, your imagination can go down into that database and come up with some information that may or may not be helpful. So you have the ability through your imagination to kind of sift through that, sort through that. As you create your new reality, you let your information pull up helpful information. Let your imagination pull up the truth of what you know about you, that you are a perfect child of God, that you are Christ consciousness right here, right now. Now, maybe in the past, some of the stuff that happened to you, or the ways that you behaved, or the choices you made, you didn't make from that Christ consciousness. That's okay. It was a lesson. It taught you information about how you are now. You know, it's always important to use your imagination in a positive, Christ-like way. We talk about fear, we talk about negative thoughts. You know, you have the power. You have the power to control your imagination. You have the power to control your mind. You have the power to control your brain, to sift through what's useful and what's not. So understanding, the feminine attribute of understanding, with all thy getting, get understanding, Proverbs 4:7. Charles Fuller states that spiritual understanding is developed in the feminine realm of the soul. We talked about that. This development is pictured in Acts 16:14. So the story is, and a certain woman named Lydia, a seller of purple, in the city of Thyatira, one that worshipped God, heard us, whose heart the Lord opened. Thyatira means burning incense. It represents the intense desire of man for the higher expressions of life. When this inner urge comes forth with power, and power is represented by the color purple, the Lord opens our hearts and we receive the heavenly message, like the disciples who said to one another, "Was not our heart burning within us while he spoke to us in the way, while he opened us to the scriptures?" Understanding is the ability to know, to perceive, to comprehend, and apprehend. And so when we think about understanding, again, we go into our Christ consciousness, we go into our hearts, and we look at what information is coming from there. Rather than focusing on material understanding, rather than focusing on what the media tells us, what somebody who has a different opinion may be telling us, you know, that may work fine for that person, But you know, it's okay. You can say, thank you for that information, but that just doesn't work for me right now. You're holding a sacred space for them. You're holding a sacred space for you. But you're in harmony with that relationship by letting them do what they need to do and letting you what you need to do. So understanding as that feminine spiritual aspect, it's best paired with the masculine spiritual aspect of will. Will is that executive department that carries out or executes what you understand to be right or good. Again, what is your understanding of what you need? What do you understand as your best course of action? So the reason for taking them together is that they work together as a team. The will carries out what we understand or accept as true. These are your inner faculties of mind that connect the inner world of thought to the outer world of manifesting. So the important thing to note about this is that you can never lean on only your intellectual understanding of things. You must seek to also spiritually understand. Spiritual understanding rolls up from within you, through your intuition, through your inspiration, and is cultivated through prayer and meditation. So there's times where you get quiet, those times where you go within, those times where you kind of slow your mind, quiet your mind. This morning I'm running around trying to get ready, and Greg said, why don't you just take 5 minutes and go into our sitting room and just be quiet? Because he could see in me that that's what I needed. He could see that my highest and my best, I was just doing. I wasn't being. And sure enough, that allowed my heart rate to come down. That allowed me to get kind of focused. And so it's always good to have someone who can remind you, who can see in you the things that you might need for yourself. The complete way is to go within in meditation to let your inner self bask in the light of spiritual understanding. Then the will expresses understanding into the outer world that includes both the intellectual knowledge or information along with the spiritual inspiration and your intuitive guidance. When you seek to let the light of understanding motivate and guide you, the inclination is always towards increase, toward the increase of beauty, harmony, needed supply, inner peace, and fulfillment. So let's talk about release. This is my favorite. This is where I feel like this is really where you elevate. This is really where you evolve. So in Ecclesiastes 3:6, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away. So the feminine attribute of release. I think women are really good about forgiving. I think women are really good about letting go. I think when you think about motherhood, I think moms know that things can't be perfect all the time. I look at my mom's relationship with my brother. I've shared with you in the past that I have a brother who's 9 years old who has schizophrenia. And so that manifested when he was in his early 20s. And so my mom was his caretaker, his warrior, his medical advocate, and she just persevered. And she loved that man with every fiber of her being. And she sacrificed quite a bit. And he's still, I am now the medical advocate. I am now the unconditional lover. But I learned from watching her. And I learned that sometimes even though I wanted things to be a certain way or I want things to look a certain way for him, that's just not his plan. That's not what's there for him. And so it's mine to show up, to love him. Greg participates in that with me and supports me in that. And so I'm always grateful for that because I never feel like I'm alone in doing it. So for release, a change of mind affects a corresponding change in the body. If the thoughts are lifted up, the whole organism is raised to a higher rate of vibration. But there must be a release. There must be a letting go of old thoughts before the new can find a place in consciousness. Charles Fillmore taught that thoughts are things. They occupy space in the mental field. A healthy state of mind is attained and continued when the thinker willingly lets go of the old thoughts and takes on the new. He says that living old thoughts over and over keeps the inlet of new things closed. When you're holding on to that old stuff, those old hurts, those old situations, you are blocking your ability to let the new and to let the good come through. The term old thoughts means more than the thoughts on a conscious level of mind. It means those beliefs, attitudes, and automatic emotional responses that have been impressed in the subconscious level of mind and that dominate our behavior. Examples are being oversensitive to criticism, impatience, a martyr attitude or sense of inferiority. We could go on and on. We all, from our childhood, unless we've had, if we're lucky to have some really good parenting, our parents did the best they could, every moment, every breath. Now, maybe we had parents that had been taught by their parents or had discovered really healthy ways of parenting. Not all of us did. And so we have some reaction from our childhood that comes up as adults when we're faced with situations that are uncomfortable or, maybe old fears are uprooted. So denials and affirmations can be very helpful with release. To deny is to cleanse or clear out and release. This makes a vacuum for the positive to come in. A typical and effective one is this: I am free from tension, stress, and strain. I completely depend on infinite wisdom to guide me into right action. I am grateful. Gratitude. Attitude of gratitude. Attitude of gratitude eases so many hurts. Attitude of gratitude puts you into a higher vibration, a higher consciousness. Being grateful just opens a way for more good to come. So when we think about release, not only does this cover letting go, but also as a reminder, relaxing. So when we let go, we can be relaxed. This supports our body, this supports our heart rate, this supports our digestion, our organs, being in balance. Let go of your fears and doubts and let God. And that's it, friends. That's all I got. So, thank you for being here today as we talk about the feminine attributes of God. And I hope that something that I said or something I shared this morning just sticks with you and helps you to elevate, helps bring you to a higher vibration. So, bless you. Have an awesome Mother's Day and a great week ahead.